Hey moms, okay, today on Wire Talk, we're going to be talking about our easygoing, laid-back children, avoid conflict children, and we call them our greens. So greens can be a mystery to us parents because they're sort of chameleon-like, and today we're going to dive into this personality, and I'm going to try to help you guys understand and guide and direct them a little bit better. So let's jump in.
Well, hello, moms, and welcome to Wire Talk. We are so glad that you are here with us today, and whatever platform you're listening on. Thank you so much for joining us. And I cannot believe that we are talking about this today because this is kind of me. We are talking about me basically today.
This is 100% you.
So what is this, Mom? What are we talking about today?
This is the green temperament. It's making your motivating, not making. I need to get my glasses out.
Yeah.
Motivating your laid-back child, which is green.
Yeah, we almost had a problem today.
Because I didn't have my glasses.
Glasses.
And then, it's turned chilly in the air. So I was just telling Emily before we went on, like, does this sweater make me look fat? Do I need to change? I do love sweaters.
Oh, I know, but
it's just, but they do sort of add a little fluffier look to you.
Yes.
But that's okay because we're all moms out there and, we all have the same stuff going on.
That's right. Speaking of glasses, you had an optometrist, is that how you say it? Optometrist, eye doctor appointment this week. And your eyes are getting better.
Yeah.
Distance-wise, and my eyes are getting worse.
Well, it's because my eyes are getting worse with reading.
It's not
so
fair.
My stigmatism distance is getting better. I mean, I read 20/20 for the distance, which I haven't done that in 33 years.
And then, I need my glasses more and more often to see.
It's crazy.
It is so crazy. I cannot drive at night without my glasses, or it's like everything looks like furry bubbles.
Well, wait till you get to be my age, and then you won't need that.
Well, just need them for when you're reading.
Maybe. Well, the lady that was doing the eye exam, I said, my eyesight is actually getting better. I don't even need my glasses anymore. She goes, okay. And then I read the 20/20 line, and she goes, okay, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't believe you, but you really did. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't even have my glasses on.
I didn't even need to squint at all.
No.
That's funny.
So awesome.
Well, I think today is just a little bit of insight to my childhood and me being green. And, I was your first green because first you had Kelsey, which was a red.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had me, which was a green.
You're actually my only one that has green. The others don't even have green in their temperaments.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, your dad is blue-green, but I'm not his parent, obviously.
That's true. Yeah, that's different.
And and I don't even know if I leaned more into your dad's blue than the green. But I tell you, since he's gotten older, he's definitely leaning in. He's both blue and green, but he's definitely leaning into that green.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty much laid back as you can get.
Oh, very much so.
Except for when I get my stubborn heels and I dig them in deep.
Yes.
You just never know when that's going to happen too. So it kind of puts you off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. We're dying on this hill.
Exactly.
Why? I don't know.
I need to wake up. We should have gotten coffee.
Well, I did already have one cup of coffee, but you've also been up since 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah, y'all. I'm doing this new workout program. It's no joke. And yeah, I do wake up at 4:45.
Yeah.
So what time is it now?
I have no idea. 9:30. Well, we got to get going.
All right. Forget about it. Let's go.
I'm not laid back anymore.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So let's get to the questions.
All right.
All right. Question 1. I would love tips on motivating a green child. It takes my daughter forever to do anything, but she's an especially slow eater, and getting ready for school is brutal. She's very sweet and sensitive, so getting on her just doesn't work.
It does not work. Getting on a green actually makes them worse. I call them my turtles because the more you fuss and yell or criticize or whatever, they go back into their shell and you can never get them out. You're like, hey, where are you? I was just having a conversation with you. And they're like, oh, I'm gone. So I honestly, the best thing I think you can do, because if you start, one negative thing about a green is they don't like to be pushed.
Yeah.
And the more you push them, the more they dig their heels in and they won't budge. So the best thing to do is wake this little nugget up sooner, which means the mom's going to have to get up earlier. Now, I wouldn't even tell her that you're waking her up earlier. I would just wake her up earlier.
Yeah, like it's time to get up.
Yeah, it's time to get up. And then also, the other trick is do not, capital N, capital O, capital T, turn on the TV. Because that's a distraction for a green, any child, but definitely a green. And you got to keep them on task. And if you could have all of her stuff laid out where she just gets up and puts it on and then goes downstairs and starts breakfast, eating, have it all ready, but just that you got to get her up earlier.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah. I also think since I am a green, I'm going to speak just a little bit into this. As a green, I do better with more things on my list because I can't procrastinate as much.
Mm-hmm.
So like in college or even in high school, if I had a smaller classwork, I did worse on my grades because I procrastinated. But the year in college that I had 18 hours and I was an RA and I had my cohort, whatever it's called, with teaching, and I had my syllabus and everything, I had the best grades because I knew I couldn't procrastinate.
Right.
So maybe give this little nugget a task to do. Like, hey, you need to get up, get your breakfast, and make up your bed. And they're like, oh, I got to do all of that. You know what I mean? And so it may push her a little further,
right,
and make her go faster.
That's a good tip. Or take out the trash before you, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, they give her a task to do. But I would definitely wake her up early.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So what's the most practical tip you can think of to give this mom this week?
Set your alarm clock earlier.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Wake up.
That gives you 2 cups of coffee now.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Question number 2. How can I help my kiddo navigate making friends at a new school? 2nd grade. My green-blue son was at a Christian school for K in 1st and just started public school for 2nd grade. That's literally my life.
Yeah.
I went to Christian school, kindergarten first, and then public school 2nd grade.
Well, here's the deal. All you can really do as far as friends go with your children is to encourage them and pray for them. You can't be in the classroom. You can't, teach them how to do it. And you can role play and things like that. But also the fact that he's a green and then a blue, you had yellow as your second color.
Yes, I did.
So you did have a bent towards you wanted friends. But a boy, number 1, number 2, the blue-green, he may not even want that many friends. That may not be his main goal in life. So as a mom, we have to accept that. Like Taylor didn't really care about having a lot of friends or really that many friends at all. As long as he had one, he was okay. And it might take several months for him to sort of find his groove. And I think the best thing for you to do as a mom is just to encourage him and pray for him. Yeah.
So how could you encourage this mom this week to love on her son?
Honestly, I think the best thing she could do is not nag him about it.
Oh.
Because that's what we as moms, we see a problem or what we think is a problem, and we just keep on and keep on and keep on after them, and we become a big nag, and that's not going to work with your greens.
Yeah.
It's really not.
That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, question 3. This is kind of a long question.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Question 3. How can I motivate my green high school sophomore who just does not care? She procrastinates, is lazy, and if she fails it, doesn't faze her. I've tried punishing her by taking away friends and activities in her phone, but she's fine to sit in her room all weekend. This red mama is at her wit's end. What motivates a green with no interest? 2 years and she's headed to trade school. She wants to drop out now and pursue her interests, and I said she must finish. Both her dad and I went to college and beyond and have successful careers. This isn't either of us, and we're frustrated. I'm totally fine with the trade school she's picked, but we've expressed that we support her decision and helped her find that path, but I just need her to pass high school first.
It's a great question. I think this happens a lot with high school students. So I want you to take a step back. I want you to take a deep breath and just tell yourself it's going to be okay. This is not the end of the world. I know it feels like the end of the world to you, but I promise you it's not. So instead of pushing her, you got to pass, you got to graduate, you got to go to college, all these things, take a step back. And why don't you start painting a picture of what success would look like for your child? Let her do some research on your own and find out what do high school dropouts, what do they make in the working force? And then what do high school graduates make? And then look at her trade school. And what does the average person, like I guess that we'll just say she wants to go to cosmetology. That's a trade school. So what does the average cosmetologist make and all that? And then link that to working hard and doing your best in graduating high school and getting into the cosmetology school that she wants, the better one that she wants, where she can find a better skill and all of that. That's going to help her. Help connect these two pieces, these two different worlds. Because in high school world, she's thinking, well, what does math matter? What does history matter? I'm going to be cutting hair for the rest of my life. I'm just making this up. I have no idea what trade she wants. But I promise you that's her way of thinking. Like, what does it really matter? Well, just say it matters because in life we have to do hard things and we have to learn to persevere. And this is just part of the persevering for you. And so whenever you get into the working force, you're going to have to push yourself days. You're not going to feel like getting up. You're not going to feel like going to work. But then you can remind yourself, no, I can do hard things. And every color needs to learn that. So paint the picture of what success looks like. You've painted the picture of what it doesn't look like for a long time, and it doesn't seem like it's working. So why don't we reverse it? And you paint the picture of what success looks like and help motivate her. You know, Abby and I, when she was in high school, we were just butting heads over silly things. And finally one day I just said, Abby, what is the problem? And she's like, you just don't think I can do anything. And you keep pushing me because you think I'm not doing enough. And I just said, oh, okay. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. I'm trying to motivate you, but I'm realizing now that my motivation is actually making it worse. So I said, Abby, what do you want? What do you want whenever you graduate from high school? And she started painting the picture of what she wanted and what it looked like. And I said, okay, I want to help you achieve your goals. And in my mind, this is how we have to do it. But let's talk to your guidance counselor. Let's talk to some people at your school and get the path that you need to get on. And you know what? That really helped because I think for the first time, Abby felt heard and seen by me instead of it was just being my agenda. And I thought I was doing the motivation the whole time, but I wasn't. Yeah. So sometimes as parents, we need to just take a step back, take a deep breath. And even if your daughter went and dropped out and worked at McDonald's flipping burgers, it's not the end of the world. So we just need to take that off the plate. And I know you and your husband went to college. Greg and I went to college. I get it, all that. But let's paint a picture of what success looks like for your daughter.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's one practical tip you can give this mom?
I would appeal to her economic mind and just say, this and this equals more money. And that's, boom. I'd dangle that carrot in front of her because everybody likes a little bit more money. I mean, let's be real. It's real life, people.
Well, this is another question about a green blue.
Okay.
All right. Question 4. My green blue, almost 9-year-old daughter is already struggling with self-esteem issues. She has been saying that she isn't pretty enough and wants to be popular, thinks she's too tan, and today she has more hair on her arms and legs than other girls. It's been off and on for a few months, but daily this week. We don't talk that way in our house, and she hasn't watched anything where they talk like that. From what she said, no one is saying anything to her. She says the thoughts are her own. I already have a counseling appointment, but I'm looking for advice on how to help her through this. Thank you.
Oh, so good. Listen, little girls are hard and they're hard on themselves. And, we had 3 daughters. Obviously, Emily's the middle. And each and every one of you guys questioned your beauty at some point throughout your life, if not multiple times.
Yes.
And I would always, I don't know if you remember this, but I tried to always take you back to Psalm 139:14. Let me just read it to you guys. I'm not going to read it, but it says, where we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I would just always tell them, God made you this way for a reason. Like when we were little, you didn't like the freckles at first all over your face in the summertime. You're like, why do I have these freckles and Kelsey doesn't? Or, and I was like, because you were fearfully and wonderfully made. And these freckles make you beautiful and they make you different and you stand out. And now I never will forget when you got a little bit older and you're like, I love my freckles. And it was just like such a journey, because at first you hated them and then you started loving them. And And that is hard whenever you're a little girl and you look over and you've got more hair on your arms than your other friends. And you're like, how can I get rid of it? And they don't know how, and they don't know what to do, and they don't want anybody to notice them because they're different. And it's just hard. So we have to help them see what we see in them, and not just their outward beauty, but also their inward beauty. So don't just focus on outward beauty. Focus on their heart. Focus on how they love people and they share with others, and their love for the Lord, and how they treat you as a mom and respect you, and how good that makes you feel. There's lots of ways we can build up our children. But, Abby always didn't like her glasses, and I just said, God fearfully and wonderfully made you to where you are going to have to wear glasses, and that's okay. And he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
So
I know this is a little different, but I sometimes hearing it from your mom is a little different. But if dad said it to me, or if you have a strong male figure in your life, if they say something, it does hold a little bit more merit with girls.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always when we went shopping and dad says, I like this sweater. I mean, I'm 31 years old. I was like, oh, my dad likes my sweater. I know that's silly, but if you have a strong male figure that you can encourage that little girl, I think that does go a long way.
It does. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what's one practical tip you'd like to give this sweet mama this week?
I would just think of ways you can help her feel pretty. Like Evie right now is getting ready to turn 10, and she's sort of getting into that age of, wanting to fit in with the other girls and wanting to be special. And they spent the night with me Saturday night, and I was getting them ready Sunday for church, and she walked in my room and she's like, my hair's a mess, and it was a mess. And so I said, well, come here. And, I'm just brushing it, and I'm like, you've got such pretty hair. And she goes, I don't have a bow. What am I? I'm not going to look pretty. And I'm like, oh, you don't need a bow. And so I just sort of French braided the side of her hair. And then I took some of my hair products and put it on my hands, and then put it up to help her lay down. And it did. And I just looked in the mirror and I grabbed her little face. I'm like, you look so beautiful.
Aww.
And she just lit up. And I think we have to think, instead of just telling our girls all the time, you're so pretty, you're so pretty. No, teach them how to dress, how to do their hair, all these things. And if you don't know, Mom, that's okay. Find somebody that does. Find somebody that does. Because that's not everybody's specialty, but somebody in your world knows how to do hair.
Yes.
Somebody in your world knows how to put an outfit together. And you pick their brain until you figure it out. That's what I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
That was it?
That was it.
Wow, that went fast.
Yes, it was fast.
Yeah.
So, but moms, thank you so much for joining us and sending in your questions, because without these questions, we wouldn't have a podcast. And we are just so grateful for all of our listeners. And if you want to support the mission of Birds on a Wire Moms, one totally free way to do that is to subscribe. That's a hard word for me to say. Subscribe to whatever listening channel you're listening to, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, podcast, so many platforms that you can listen to this on, and like and review a comment on social media, YouTube, just because the more it's subscribed and liked and loved, it's spread out to more moms. And that's really the reach of Birds on a Wire, is to reach every mom, to encourage and equip moms. But thank you so much for reaching out and letting us be a part of your day today. If you have any questions that you want to be on the podcast, just send them to info@birdsonawiremoms.com. And if you are more curious about everything else that Birds on a Wire has to offer, visit us at www.birdsonawiremoms.com. And we'll see you next week. See ya.